my perspective, the largest issue in this election is making sure that we clean up a toxic, divisive atmosphere in our city hall. For far too long, the leaders in City Hall have engaged in backroom dealing, backbiting, undermining of employees, and all manner of dysfunctional management practices. My primary goal in this campaign is to stop the current insular and negative management style in City Hall and replace it with an open and inclusive decision-making process, one that values the input and the opinions of all of Wausau's residents and businesses, and not simply a select few. Now, some of my opponents in this race don't think we have this problem in City Hall. They think things are pretty much going along okay. And the real problem here is that people like myself are being too negative. We're bringing up issues that we think we can improve on, and somehow that is the problem here. All this negativity is scaring away business and scaring away progress. Well, I don't believe that at all. I believe that the lack of credibility in City Hall is what is preventing us from moving forward productively as a community and as a city government. And by instilling a sense of team effort and cooperative action in City Hall, by really living up to my pledge to be open and inclusive and listen to all residents, I believe that is how we begin to address our problems. Now, Abraham Lincoln once said, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by avoiding it today." And I believe, unfortunately, that is what City Hall has done for too long. And I promise that if you trust me as your next mayor, there will be full accountability, and there will be no more ignoring the real problems we face as a community. Thank you. We need to think about what type of businesses we are looking to attract to our community. And as a starting point, I will be highly skeptical of any effort to give unsecured loans to retail companies. Even if these are new retailers looking to come to town, I'm just not sure that subsidizing some of your competition is really the best way to go about attracting new business to town. I believe instead we need to focus on the infrastructure that growth industries need in order to locate anywhere. And the big lacking piece of infrastructure in this town is quality data services. Okay, we are operating with old internet systems, with old networks. We are operating under capacity. We are operating with too little capacity, just in terms of accessible data centers available to new companies coming into the area. For a long time, city and county government have been working on a joint IT commission and trying to move the ball forward here, but not getting results. I intend on putting together a team to really focus on the nuts and bolts of getting proper data center capacity and proper internet speeds to attract businesses. We have a very short time frame where improving the speed of data transmission can give us a serious competitive advantages in growth industries such as medical technology, education, waste management, and obviously finance. And no efforts are being made to grow these growth industry sectors. So let's stop thinking about old models of retail and think about the industries that are actually growing in this country. To the question, a lot of this comes back to the lack of good paying jobs in the area. And I know that may seem a little strange since, the employees aren't the ones paying the city budget or making the city budget. But really, our economy in Wausau has either been stagnating or shrinking for most of your life. And, your generation is the first generation being left economically worse off than your parents in our nation's history. And, nothing that's been suggested, the cost savings or balancing the budget really address that fundamental problem of getting money coming back into Wausau instead of money flowing out. But as far as actual budget decisions, what we need is someone who will put in the real time and effort and has the ability to digest that budget and find savings. I would suggest most of my opponents have had the opportunity and failed, and in 10 out of the last 11 years we've had tax rates increasing in this town, and Mr. Milke is absolutely correct. At the same time, we've been cutting services and firing people. Looks like we're doing every aspect of budgeting wrong. Now, I'm a lawyer with a background negotiating, advocating, and that you're probably aware of, but I also have an undergraduate degree in economics. And my focus in my undergraduate studies in economics was on macroeconomics and sustainable economic development. Now, that background alone, I believe, uniquely qualifies me to not only process this budget material, find out where the problems are, but then go about addressing it. And I can tell you, looking from the outside once again, a sneaking suspicion, a large portion of our current budget problem is related to our inefficient and ineffective use of TIF financing, tax incremental financing, and TID districts. And you see these massive remaining deficits in TID, and you wonder why we don't have the taxes to pay for our services. Okay, well, it's because we've made that choice to suck those tax dollars out of our general fund. And then when it comes time to retire a TID, we extend it and we take the surplus and we give it to another TID because that one's failing. Well, we need better economic forecasts when we develop long-term economic planning. And I believe my background uniquely prepares me to assist our finance director and our city employees in doing that. To make this a destination city for young professionals, I think one thing we need to avoid doing is clogging up all our riverfront with offices and housing. I think you need to have adequate public access to this beautiful riverfront and make it a place where maybe nightlife goes on. You know, when the offices and the like in the Dudley Tower are closing up in the evening, maybe our riverfront should be a place where people gather. That's one of the reasons why I am so concerned about the current riverfront development planning. It is not focusing enough on communal use of the riverfront. And I can tell you that, you know, a nice, attractive, usable, enjoyable riverfront would mean a lot to younger professionals who are looking at where they want to live. Given that I have 15 seconds though, business recruitment and employee recruitment is not an issue of marketing. Okay, I think my opponents unfortunately think that the biggest role they can serve is to better package, better sell, better brand Wausau for young professionals. That's not the problem. They need cheaper childcare and they need jobs that pay them well.